Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Doki Doki Literature Club. Oh, geez. I'll say this. This game is doing something that I always look for when I'm choosing the next project to cover on this channel, which is I try with these series to not just discuss subjects of mental health and see if they parallel our favorite games and medium. I also want to depict them. You'll see me like trying to not just describe what psychological principles I'm talking about, but also acting them out sometimes. And I actually am always hoping that the games I cover give me the perfect scenarios to discuss real mental health issues, but that also harmonize in a way with my own experience in playing them so that I can accurately represent to you what it's like to go through certain very real things and how they're dealt with in real clinical settings. This stuff with Sayari is a very close issue to me as someone who has lost clients before and in a very real way has wondered about some of the questions that I know rationally are dangerous to even visit, which are, could I have done more? So many of the people who watched the last video let me know that in this game, there is nothing that you could have done. And I think that does speak to the very hard to accept understanding that you have to have when you work in this field, or even when you just know someone who is struggling, like Sayori, that there often isn't a direct choice you could have gone back and made differently to change things. And so you can only imagine the questions that I've had. What if I had spent the session talking about this or that? There's a lot of ways that I could get very lost and have in those discussions with myself. But ultimately, it doesn't change what happens. And that's a very difficult thing to settle with. At the same time, I've never been discouraged by losing someone like that from trying again or for not sharpening my awareness to those similar kinds of signs. And so you can see in my desperation in the last episode that I know how it feels to be slipping away from something like that and to feel somewhat powerless to it. I think the game going in that direction both presents the very frustrating challenge of having a deep emotional investment in someone that is finding it hard to have that same emotional investment for themselves and know that you can't give them your own desperate empathy if they don't have it for themselves. It's a very hard thing to accept. And I think it wants us to now see what it feels like in the aftermath to second guess everything. That's going to be a very hard experience for Anime Brady, who I have not been the kindest to because of many of the things I just discussed. There is some resonance of my own experience coming through in how I perceive him in ways that I've perceived myself in the past. So while I'm very upset about the direction of the story, I do think that it's a good opportunity to discuss these things, to challenge the player to consider how they would react. And I don't know what direction it's going in, but I hope present us with a view of what it would look like to process this in a healthy way. I also think that it indulges in a bit of extra cruelty with how it set this up. It is a game after all. And I do think it is going for maximum impact. So I don't know. maybe it leans more into that cruelty and just gets worse and eventually never gets better. I don't know. And I would like not to know. So please don't spoil that for me. But if you've seen other creative projects of mine, you have seen how I like to end things. That I go in search for. I'm not even sure if I would say a positive conclusion. Some of the games we've played don't naturally give us that, but I do go in search of a statement that I hope captures something real and fundamental about the human experience and how we all deal with our mental health. And in that realness, hopefully, there is a positive conclusion we can make from it. So that's what I'm in search of, because just something to know about me, and what I'm going to say next is really not like a part of the therapist plays narrative that I try to bring to this channel. And it's not my clinical or professional statement. What I'm going to say now is just my opinion, which is that I don't believe, so it's not validated by anything other than how I feel, but I don't believe we go into this world with a desire to take ourselves out of it. I think that's something that happens to people. You could get into nature and nurture, and that's a very complex philosophical and also psychological subject. But I'm just talking about this one thing. I don't think we come into the world with a desire to leave it. I think that that is something that happens to us. And if there's something that can happen to you to put you in that state of mind, then I have to believe that there's something that can pull you back from it. And maybe the reason I think that is just because I have to. I just have to do this kind of job and talk about these sort of things. I need to have a fundamental optimism and hopefulness that it's possible to uh, help people in that state of mind and not like fix it. I don't think that that's a sign of someone being broken necessarily. I think it's a sign of desperation and longing for something that feels very inaccessible, a kind of happiness, a closeness, a attachment to the world or your own life, or it could be many things. But I think I just have to believe that so that I don't quit this, so that I keep trying at all costs to help people in that circumstance. If I didn't think it was possible, then I'm not sure I could do it. And my other belief, which is more of just an observation and from some personal experience, is that I don't think the kind of crisis that someone like Sayori and the other characters as well, and people who feel like them, are in, is something that you can necessarily think your way out of. And what I mean by that is I don't think it is an intellectual kind of problem. I think it's an emotional problem. I think it's something you have to feel your way out of, which can be aided by different ways of thinking, of course. But when I look around at how many very intelligent people take their own lives, if it was just like raw intelligence that you needed, then I'm not sure we would see so much of that. I think it's an emotional crisis. And that gives me some comfort because emotions are something you can change, but it also terrifies me because they're not something you can control. They can be quite abstract. And because of that, I think that that's what we're going to see a lot of from poor anime Brady as he struggles with this very idea of what could I have done to change this. So we shall see as we keep going with this game. Because like I said, I'm in search of a statement about people and experiencing life that doesn't leave us with a feeling of hollowness. I'm gonna go looking for that, and I basically won't stop until I find it. So we're gonna continue with the Dokis and see what the aftermath of this. is. Like I said, there's never been a single question in my mind, even if I have felt like I've failed in the most existential way possible, that I should stop there. I've never even thought about it. So let's continue. Now, just because we have been traumatized does not mean we should stop analyzing or trying to have fun with this series. And I must say, there is something about this title screen that has given me some new ideas about what's going on here. Sayori is gone, but it's not like her image is corrupted here. It's been replaced by Monika, and it is interglitched with Natsuki and Yuri. So I'm actually wondering, like, I don't know, are they gonna address this? Like, is she... Wait a second. What I'm actually wondering is if she's gone in the story, like, are they actually going to... Oh. Are they gonna pretend that she's, like, was never there? Because she's gone, like, her character file is gone. Trace back. So, runtime exception. Call in new context main menu. So that's the error we're seeing there. Oh geez, I didn't break anything, did I? Hold on a sec, I can probably fix this, I think. Actually, you know what? This would probably be a lot easier if I just deleted her. She's the one who's making this so difficult. Well, here goes nothing. Okay. Happy thoughts. Okay. I think you know who went on too many tangents again. I need to be more assertive about staying focused. It could be talking about me. Okay. So my guess here is I think Monika knows. I think Monika knows about me. Like, she must know about the game that I'm playing because she's the one who said, you know, you gotta save the game, and she's made a couple allusions to that. Sometimes that's just a diegetic tutorialization thing. But if she's like literally fucking with the game files, I think Monika knows that we're in the game. I think she is the game. I think she is some kind of arbiter for like our interfacing with the game itself. She is the president of the literature club after all, meaning she's responsible for it all coming together. But what does she want? Like, clearly, if I'm taking like the meta narrative of what's happening in the game, she must have thought that Sayori was some kind of distraction. And it's possible that she influenced Sayori to do what she did, which restores a little bit of faith for me that that wasn't dear Sayori's decision, but fucking Monika's decision. Who influenced her, like she almost influenced me. I was on Team Monika for like 8 seconds before I realized this was a dark road I was heading down. But I was almost captured by her. So I think Monika might be the game itself. Possibly. And when I ask the question of what does she want, I have to ask another question, which is who benefits? Who benefits from Sayori being gone? Well, to step away from the darkness of that statement, speaking purely as a video game character, there's no benefit to anyone in real life. But who benefits in the context of the video game? Well, it's one less person to fight for the attention of the player, of Anime Brady. Do they benefit from me being extremely dysregulated and upset that Sayori is gone? Possibly. Possibly. But I don't think that the other girls benefit. I think that only maybe Monika benefits somehow. Because my logical deduction would be to say that, well, they're fucking next. Like, I know Yuri's got some stuff going on. We don't know anything about Natsuki, really. She hates us. She hates us more than I hate my own anime self. So I'll stop speculating there, because I really don't have enough information, but I want to know who benefits and why. Now, I should say, before I actually start, there was some dialogue that I did not include in my last episode because I was so upset that I decided to just stop playing. I was defeated by the game, and I didn't feel like processing it in that moment, but it was Anime Brady considering whether he was at fault for Sayori's death. And we will revisit that subject later on. But right now, I kind of just want to know what the fuck is happening here. No! No! Don't do this to me. No, don't give me this. I see an annoying girl running towards me from the distance, waving her arms in the air like she's totally oblivious to any attention she might draw. That girl, my neighbor and good friend since we were children. You know, the kind of friend you'd never see yourself making today. But it just kind of works out because you've known each other for so long. We used to walk to school together on days like this, but starting around high school, she would oversleep more and more frequently, and I would get to, okay, so we're right back at the beginning. But is it going to acknowledge Sayori? But if she's going to chase after me like this, I almost feel like better off running away. However, I just sigh and idle in front of the crosswalk and let them catch up to me. Oh my god. What? God damn it. You acknowledge her. Acknowledge her existence. I will never forget Sayori. I'm filled with curiosity and rage. It's an ordinary school day like any other. Mornings are usually the worst, being surrounded by couples and friend groups walking to school together. Oh, this is new dialogue. Meanwhile, I've always walked to school alone. The Sayori erasure. It will not be tolerated, I swear. I always tell myself it's about time I meet some girls or something like that. But I have no motivation to join any clubs. I'm perfectly content just getting by on the average while spending my free time on games and anime. There's always the anime club, but it's not like there would be any girls in it anyways. This is the sad thing, is I wonder how much of a difference Sayori made in Anime Brady's life. Like, she was the agent of change that got us involved. So how are we going to get wrapped up in the story without her? Without sweet Sayori? This story is a shell of what it should be. The school day is as ordinary as ever, and it's over before I know it. After I pack up my things, I stare blankly at the wall, looking for an ounce of motivation. Clubs. There really aren't any that interest me. Besides, most of them would probably be way too demanding for me to want to deal with. I guess I have no choice but to start with the anime club. Brady? Monika? Oh my goodness. I totally didn't expect to see you here. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Monika. It's been a while, right? Yeah, it has. Monika smiles sweetly. We do know each other. Well, we rarely talked, but we were in the same class last year. Monika was probably the most popular girl in class. Smart, beautiful, athletic. Basically, completely out of my league. Oh, well, at least some things haven't changed. So having her smile at me so genuine feels a little suspicious. Yeah, me too. What did you come in here for anyway? Oh, I've just been looking for some supplies to use for my club. Do you know if there's any construction paper in here? Or markers? I guess you could check the closet. You're in the debate club, right? About that. I actually quit the debate club. Really? You quit? Yeah. To be honest, I can't stand all the politics around the major clubs. It feels like nothing but arguing about the budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it. I'm sort of filtering everything she says through this like other layer of how much does she know about the game that we're playing here? In that case, what club did you decide to join? Actually, I'm starting a new one. The interesting thing about anime Brady and Monika's dynamic is he so deeply believes like she's out of my league that he's probably like a little less romantically intimidated by her. Like he kind of talks to her quite normally rather than like sort of shutting down like he does when he talks to Yuri. I think it just sort of normalizes some of her to us because we've just sort of written her off as impossible to catch. Actually, I'm starting a new one. A literature club. Sayori! She's there! She's trying to claw her way back in. Literature? That sounds kind of dull. How many members do you have so far? It's kind of embarrassing, but there are only 3 of us so far. How dare you? How dare you, Monika? It's really hard to find new members for something that sounds so boring. Well, I can see that. But it's really not boring at all, you know. Literature can be anything. Reading, writing, poetry. I mean, one of my members even keeps her manga collection in her club room. Wait, really? Yeah, it's funny, right? She always insists that manga is literature too. I mean, she's not wrong, I guess. And besides, a member's a member, right? Did Monika say she? Hey, Brady. By any chance, are you still looking for a club to join? I mean, I guess so, but in that case, is there any chance you could do me a big favor? I won't ask you to join, but if you could at the very least visit my club, it would make me really happy. That's the thing, Monika needs us. For whatever reason, for whatever aims she has, she needs to like start the club, get the other girls involved, but she can't touch them on her own. She needs us. The player, Anime Brady, maybe both of us, to get involved. Sayori was the agent of change for that at the beginning. Her connection to us, her attachment was enough to get us into the club. But Sayori was in the way of something that she needed, maybe. And so she needed to do away with her. The game needed to, Monika needed to, I don't know yet. But now that she has lost Sayori as that agent of change, she needs to do it herself. She needs to over-control. The question I have is how much is Monika really even her own person? Or is she as a character, someone who obsesses about control, in no control of her own? Because she's stuck on the fixed path of the narrative. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I'm just like throwing guesses out because I'm too sad to take it seriously anymore, I guess. Well, that's not true. I tend to get overly invested anyways, even despite my own compensation behavior, which is to focus on the meta-analysis because I'm too upset about Sayori in reality. Okay, if you could at least visit the club, it would make me really happy. Yeah, well, that's all we fucking care about, isn't it, Monika? Making you happy. Please. Well, I guess I have no reason to refuse. Besides, how can I ever refuse someone like Monika? Well, you literally can't. This is not a role-playing game, I'm learning. Sure, I guess I could check it out. Awesome. You're really sweet, Brady, you know that? Do not try to butter me up, Monika. I am suspicious of your aims. Please catch on to this, Anime Brady. You are so close to redemption for me. It's nothing, really. Shall we go, then? I'll look for the materials another time. You're more important. How does he take a direct statement like that? Like, what does he think about a compliment like that? No, I guess we won't find out. And thus, today marks the day I sold my soul to Monika and her irresistible smile. I dejectedly follow Monika across the school and upstairs, a section of the school I rarely visit. Monika, full of energy, swings open the classroom door. I'm back, and I brought a guest with me. I hate this. I love it because I have no fucking clue where it's going, but I hate it. I hate I hate that I can no longer trust. I can no longer trust anything. My powers of therapeutic deduction feel aimless somehow now. Because I don't know how much is character reading, or do I have to tease out what is being manipulated by Monika? Girl one. A guest? Seriously? You brought a boy? Way to kill the atmosphere. Don't be mean, Natsuki. But anyway, welcome to the club, Brady. All words escape me in this situation. This club is full of incredibly cute girls. So let me guess. You're Monika's boyfriend, right? What? No, I'm not. She's totally out of my league. Natsuki. The girl with the sour attitude, whose name is apparently Natsuki, is one I don't recognize. Her small figure makes her look like a first-year student. Anyway, this is Natsuki, energetic as usual. And this is Yuri, the vice president. Oh, she's replaced Sayori as the vice president. It's nice to meet you. Yuri, who appears comparably more mature and timid, seems to have a hard time keeping up with someone like Natsuki. Yeah, it's nice to meet both of you. So, I ran into Brady in a classroom and he decided to check out the club. Decided is a very charitable word, Monika. Isn't that great? Wait, Monika! Didn't I tell you to let me know in advance before you brought anyone new? I was going to, well, you know, sorry. I didn't forget that, but I just happened to run into him. In that case, I should at least make some tea, right? Yeah, that would be great. Why don't you come and sit down, Brady? The girls have a few desks arranged to form a table. Yuri walks to the corner of the room and opens the closet. Meanwhile, Monika and Natsuki sit across from each other. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Monika. The Monika jump scares seem all the more intimidating now. So, I know you didn't really plan on coming here, but we'll make sure you feel right at home, okay? That's what you do, Monika. You make me feel nice and comfortable first, before you destroy me inside and out. As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everyone. I'm surprised there aren't more people in this club yet. It must be hard to start a new club. You could put it that way. Not many people are very interested in putting out all the effort to start something brand new. Especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention, like literature. You have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. There's kind of a statement about her character in that, isn't there? One of the things that I find really interesting to explore, especially early on in the therapeutic process, is this idea of explicit and implicit rules. Because everybody grew up with different circumstances, right? And there were certain very explicit rules that you were aware of in your household. Things that are said aloud and upheld openly. Like, we all sit at the dinner table together. It's important for you to get a good night's sleep, right? These are like things your parents tell you often. And many times the explicit rules also come with explicit consequences. Like, if you don't get a good night's sleep, you won't be able to do well in school. We sit together because family is a priority in this household. And these are very nice rules, right? Like, they're about taking good care of yourself, but not everyone is fortunate to have parents who set up their environment like this. Often, the explicit rules are things that are character deconstructing rather than character building. And these might be like, you don't speak your mind to me. You're not allowed to like defend yourself when I'm shouting at you. You've done something wrong. And if you don't stop, there's more punishment coming. That's an explicit rule, right? Like, you're being told exactly what the expectation is and what the consequence is. And those shape us in very powerful ways. They become ingrained into our understanding of life, the world, and ourselves. And they can have lasting effects on someone's psyche. For example, you know, if one of the explicit rules for me was you need to catch up to your higher performing sibling, right? Like, if I was told that explicitly, what would this create for me in terms of my self-perception? Even once I am outside of that situation, Like once I have grown up and I'm out of the house, like this is going to shape my instinct to compare myself, right? That my value as a person in the household when I was growing up was, how do I compare to the person who was ahead of me? And did I also learn that the conditions for my success are not always going to be fairly judged? They're always going to be like measured up against someone who I might very bitterly have the perception had an easier time, right? This stuff can like worm its way deep in, okay? So there's explicit rules and explicit consequences to them. And then there's the implicit rules, the things that are not spoken aloud, but you understand fundamentally because the consequences are often quite explicit. It could even be the same thing, right? Maybe no one tells me you have to catch up to the performance of your sibling, but I start to understand that that belief is held by the way that I'm treated, by the way that I'm talked about or not talked about in comparison to that sibling. Or it doesn't have to be siblings, it could be other kids in the neighborhood, it could be other kids at school, etc., right? Like, the implicit rule is your value is always going to be measured against the value of someone else, and it is assumed that you have to earn that value, otherwise you are no better than this other person, or you're no good at all. Like, just think of how fucking messy that makes a child's self-esteem, okay? And then think about Monika again, and a statement like that, okay? Like, when someone says this like very declarative thing, like she's saying here, you have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. That is a rule that she learned, possibly explicitly. Someone might have told her that, but it could have also been implicit, which means she had to do more working out to understand how fundamentally this idea was attributed to her personal value. You're not fun or worthwhile by default. You have to convince people of that. And don't assume that it's going to be easy. Like, the implication of all of that is that you're not charming, Monika. You're not easygoing. You're not worth anyone's time. You're going to have to fight a very uphill battle at all times to convince people. Also suggesting that people are naturally skeptical of you and your value unless you work very hard to convince them. And the contrast between fun and worthwhile as well, like pairing those things together, like worthwhile, meaning, I guess, getting invested in, listening to, your opinions don't matter unless you convince people that they matter. Kind of tells us something about why she was in the debate club, right? I am just dressing down her character from this single statement. And that's what I love about this game. Like, the fact that it actually reveals so much about them from these very singular lines. But yeah, like taking that and lining it up with the fact that you have to convince people that you're fun as well. You're dull, you're boring, your interests are not actually that interesting. You have to basically trick or deceive or manipulate people through other incentives to get them to think that the thing is fun. And look what she just said. Oh, literature club is so dull. She assumes that it's dull by default. And so I have to find these other incentives to get people involved. For example, I have to make Natsuki feel like this is a good creative outlet for her, and Yuri has to feel like this is a place to meet people because she's awkward, and Brady has to feel like this is a place to meet girls. Like, she is working extra hard to convince all of us that literature club is worth doing, that it's a fun place to be, because we're all naturally skeptical of that, because she learned that, probably because she's got like a home environment that reinforces those ideas. And so her whole presentation is about compensating for this like inner, deep self-rejection, or at least self-skepticism that like, I'm not worthwhile enough on my own. And this is exactly what I was getting at with Sayori, was that she also struggled to accept that she has a fundamental value that does not require a transaction from someone else to validate. So this tells us almost everything that we could possibly know about Monika, because it echoes the explicit and implicit rules that she has sort of developed her perception around. Which is, again, like I said, quite amazing of the game to pinpoint that. But it makes school events, like the festival, that much more important. I'm confident that we can all really grow this club before we graduate. Right, Natsuki? Well, I guess. Natsuki reluctantly agrees. Such different girls, all interested in the same goal. Monika must have worked really hard just to find these two. Yeah. Yeah, Brady. But be wary of her spell. Yuri returns to the table carrying a tea set. She carefully places a teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot in the middle. You keep a whole tea set in this classroom? Don't worry, the teachers gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Don't let yourself get intimidated. Yuri's just trying to impress you. That's not... Insulted. Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know. I believe you. Well, tea and reading might not be a pastime for me, but I do at least enjoy tea. I'm glad. Yuri faintly smiles to herself in relief. So, Brady, what kinds of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I don't really have a good way of answering that. Manga. I mutter quietly to myself, half joking. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. So what I don't know from this point again is, like, we're cycling back to some of the beginning beats, although they are slightly different. But will we get an opportunity to sort of visit some of Natsuki's poems and maybe gain her interest? Or do we keep pursuing Yuri because things might change? I don't know yet. It looks like she wants to say something, but she keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. I am somewhat resisting my instinct to call out Anime Brady here for shape-shifting himself into whatever is the most desirable shape for Yuri. But I am feeling drastically more sympathetic to him after what he has been through. And I do consider this to be the same Anime Brady. I don't think we have actually, like, cycled back anywhere. I think we are being manipulated by Monika. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her fingers. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me, and telling a good story in such a foreign world is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seemed so reserved and timid since the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds her comfort in the world of books, not people. And I do maybe get the feeling that Yuri's ways of knowing about herself and self-esteem were shaped more by implicit rules than lots of explicit ones. And one of the reasons for that is because I see that she thinks about people in kind of two ways. When she's talking to one person, let's say Anime Brady, she second guesses herself a lot and tries not to assume too much that she understands what we're thinking, right? This is why she's quite apologetic towards us, because she's not sure if she has the right read of us, right? But when she talks about people, like in a broader sense, she is much more confident in her guesstimates, because her declarative statements, she said at times before, like, sometimes you have to, like, delve deep into dark parts of yourself, and it's like more zoomed out from something localized to a specific person. And to me, that's a sign of someone who's, like, really had to make a lot of their own sense of the world. Monika's statement is very explicit. It's like she was, like, drilled into that idea. You have to convince people that you're fun and worthwhile. Yuri's perception is very much built on observation, it seems like. She's tested and validated these ideas by what she's experienced, and then filters her perception through that. And that seems to be like more combining lots of implicit understandings of the world, rather than, I'm just imagining someone giving her her first, like, dark literature book and being like, you need to read this because it's going to help you explore your dark self. Like, that seems more like an implicitly known thing. But you know, I like a lot of things. Stories with deep psychological elements usually immerse me as well. Isn't it amazing how a writer can so deliberately take advantage of your own lack of imagination to completely throw you for a loop? Yeah. Fucking yeah, it is. Amazing. I love it. I love being thrown for a loop. And I love being taken advantage of by the story. Anyway, I've been reading a lot of horror lately. I read a horror book once. I desperately grasp for something I can relate to at a minimal level. So let's be graceful and take Anime Brady at a more generous level here and assume that his shapeshifting is not out of intentional manipulation, but out of social awkwardness. Like, he doesn't necessarily know how to present his own qualities that well, and so he does grasp desperately for things that he can relate back to the person, which probably gives him a quicker path to connection, but doesn't make him very distinct, stand out, or unique in his own characterization, either as a character or as a real person trying to attract someone. At this rate, Yuri might as well be having a conversation with a rock. All these lines like have a total new context. And again, I'm gonna be much kinder to to Anime Brady now, and say that yeah, he's also got his own self-esteem issues. You know, especially after this thing with Sayori, I imagine the most prevalent fear he has is that he is an imposter. I was an imposter of Sayori's friend, because if I was a real friend, I would have saved her. I'm an imposter in this literature club. I'm not interesting enough to be here. I'm an imposter when Monika compliments me. She must just want something from me. The thing about imposter syndrome is that there's a flawed assumption that other people hold a more accurate view of you than you have of yourself, and that you're failing to live up to that more accurate assessment. Like, I definitely had this, and sometimes still do, when I'm like doing my therapy thing, right? And I'm like, this person is gonna realize I'm actually like totally incompetent here. You know, when I was a new therapist and I like didn't really know what I was doing, and sometimes still when I have like just kind of a bum session and it just doesn't sync up, doesn't harmonize very well. Still happens from time to time. I'm assuming that in their mind, they have the archetype of a perfect therapist, and they're like seeing that I don't fit into it. One thing that I know is true is that people are generally pretty self-centered and are kind of caught up in thinking about themselves more than you anyways. It usually takes like really doing something wrong for them to prompt like whether you do fit that archetype or not. They do have some kind of archetype, but are they meticulously assessing you for it? Probably less so. And the other fact is that like, if anyone's got a more clear archetype of what a perfect therapist is, it would be myself. And so I know when I'm like not being that, I know what like a really good therapist is supposed to be like, but like the average person actually doesn't. It's new to them, right? The thing you think you're an imposter in is like pretty new to most other people. You have a more clear vision of what you're supposedly an imposter to than they do. And so you don't need to fear as much that they are like, yes, well, I hold in my mind a library of the perfect representation of a boy, a perfect representation of a student, a perfect representation of a writer, and Anime Brady, I'm judging you as being none of those things. Like, these are teenage anime girls. They don't know what a fucking, like, the perfect boy looks like. especially because this one's falling for a literal rock. And there I go back again to my old ways. But all this is to say, right? You're more of an imposter to your own bias about what you should be than you are to other people's biases about what you should be. And that's half the problem with the imposter syndrome, is you're just assuming everyone is like secretly aware that you're a fraud in this thing. And Anime Brady feels like fraud to being a friend to Sayori, of being in this literature club, of being an attractive, you know, boy to these girls, and probably several other things. I'd expect that from you, Yuri. It suits your personality. Oh, is that so? Really, if a story makes me think or takes me to another world, then I really can't put it down. I do have to agree. This is the part of Yuri that I really enjoyed from the beginning. Because like I said at the start of this episode, like I'm enthralled by the idea of a interactive medium that can put us in the safe narrative container of a real dangerous situation and help us process and understand it. Surreal horror is often very successful at changing the way you look at the world, if only for a brief moment. Ugh, I hate horror. Oh, why's that? Well, Natsuki's eyes dart over to me for a split second. Never mind. That's right. You usually like to write about cute things, don't you, Natsuki? That's another part of Monika that I can clearly see in how she makes these declarative statements about other people. She's not just seeing herself in that very clear dimension of like, you have to be like this to get this, but she like kind of files people into that as well. Like, oh, Natsuki, you really like cute things. Like, it's very rigid. If my assumption is right and she's pulling the strings behind the game as well, like her very rigid idea is like, oh, Sayori needs to go. Like, there's not many ways of thinking around a problem for her. It's just like very kind of one-dimensional in a sense. What gives you that idea? You left a piece of scrap paper behind last club meeting. It looked like you were working on a poem called, don't say it out loud, and give that back. Fine. Natsuki, you write your own poems? Well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I think that's impressive. Why don't you share them sometime? No! Natsuki averts her eyes. You wouldn't like them. Not a very confident writer yet. I understand how Natsuki feels. Sharing that level of writing takes more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. Again, that feels like a very implicitly understood thing. Like, I don't imagine someone told her that. I think she discovered that through trial and error of trying to understand herself in these other ways, potentially like her self-harming behavior is a way of trying to understand one's own limits and tolerance to stress and fear and many other things. But clearly she found that writing is a safer outlet for that, at least at this point. You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. This I agree with, right? It's like why I like to expose some of my own vulnerabilities in these series. But you see how her statement is like about a sort of a philosophical idea more so than maybe it's not like her saying, I believe for me it's this, but it's like you, people in general. She's much more confident about those kinds of beliefs. Do you have writing experience too, Yuri? Maybe if you share some of your work, you can set an example and help Natsuki feel comfortable enough to share hers. I guess it's the same for Yuri. We all sit in silence for a moment. Hey, I just got an idea. How about this? Natsuki and Yuri look quizzically, Monika. Let's all go home and write a poem of our own. Then, next time we meet, we'll all share them with each other. That way, everyone is even. I mean, I thought it was a good idea. Ooh, look how deeply it takes her to feel rejected like that. Like she just failed in that very well-etched rule that she has that like you have to work hard to convince people you're fun and worthwhile, and like the most mild level of neutrality to her idea is like, I've ruined it. I'm the worst club president. Main president, Monika. I almost besmirched her by calling her vice president. Well, I think you're right, Monika. We should probably start finding activities for all of us to participate in together. I did decide to take on the responsibility of vice president after all. I need to do my best to nurture the club, as well as its members. Besides, now that we have a new member, it seems like a good step for us to take. Do you agree as well, Brady? Hold on, there's still one problem. This is one of my favorite parts of the beginning, because it feels very his own idea to like set this up. Of like, well, I haven't actually agreed to join yet. It's less of that sort of shallow reactiveness that I see from him. What's that? Now that we've reached the most important topic, I bluntly come forth with what's been on my mind this entire time. I never said I would join this club. Monika may have convinced me to stop by, but I never made any decision. Look at him being protective of his own decisions. This is very independent of you, Brady. I still have other clubs to look at, and I lose my train of thought. How could you say no to a pouty Natsuki? It's one of the most powerful forces in the universe, as far as I can tell. All three girls stare back at me with dejected eyes. But, I'm sorry, I thought... The girls exchange glances before Monika turns back to me. I guess I need to tell you the truth, Brady. The thing is, we don't have enough members yet to form an official club. Now that puts my theory at odds that she wants to get rid of the other two. If she needs 4 people, we need 4. And I've been trying really, really hard to find new members. And if we don't find one more before the festival, I'm defenseless against these girls. How am I supposed to make a clear-headed decision when it's like this? I would feel terrible for letting everyone down in this situation. And besides, the club itself seems pretty relaxed. So, if writing poems is the price I need to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls... Right. Okay, I've decided then. I'll join the literature club. One by one, the girls' eyes light up. Oh my goodness, really? Do you really mean that, Brady? Yeah. It could be fun, right? You really did scare me for a moment. I mean, if you really just left after all this, I would be super pissed. Brady, I'm so happy. Oh, that was a Sayori line. Now I'm sad again. We can become an official club now. Thank you so much for this. You're really amazing. I want to accept the compliment for Anime Brady's burgeoning self-esteem growth, but I don't know if Monika has pure motives in praising us. Or if she just thinks, like for herself, everyone else needs to be convinced that they're fun and worthwhile, so she needs to very directly tell them stuff like that. I'll do everything I can to give you a great time, okay? It's a lot of pressure on Monika. A lot of pressure. Thanks, I guess. Okay, everyone. I think with that, we can officially end today's meeting on a good note. Everyone remember tonight's assignment. Write a poem to bring to the next meeting so we can all share. Monika looks over at me once more. Brady, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself. Yeah. Can I really impress the class star Monika with my No. No, it's still no. I already feel the anxiety welling up inside me. Meanwhile, the girls continue to chit-chat as Yuri cleans up the tea set. I guess I'll be on my way then. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. I can't wait. Monika is so much more involved in the story, it's strange. With that, I depart the club room and make my way home. The whole way, my mind wanders back and forth between the 3 girls, Natsuki, Yuri, and of course, Monika. Something missing. Will I really be happy spending every day after school in a literature club? Perhaps I'll have the chance to grow closer to one of these girls. All right, I'll just need to make the most of my circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. I don't know at this point, Brady. I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. All right, well, unlocked a special poem. Yes, I would like to read it. A joke. A man walked into a club. In the club, there was a girl who liked him very much. They spent time together, and then she liked him even more. One day, the girl realized she was in love with him. Before disaster could happen, a third party intervened with her programming. Suddenly, the girl hated herself for being in love. This contradiction caused the script to derail. The universe started to collapse, but she killed herself just in time. So, yeah, there is some goal that Sayori's, like, self-discovery was at odds with. And so she was influenced beyond where she originally was in terms of stress. This is getting interesting. Okay. I'm again gonna make a save here. Oh, and actually my other saves are gone. That's unfortunate. I guess I won't be able to go back and see some other routes, but we will anyways. Somehow. I will find a way. I always do. Well, I guess we're still gonna choose Yuri words, but can choose just as many Natsuki words. Maybe she won't hate us as much in this one. What about meager? It's a Yuri word. Fun. Extraordinary. Let's do dazzle. Unrestrained. Uncontrollable. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick like a mix of things. I'm not actually sure if there will be brand new scenes with Yuri at this point. So might as well see some of Natsuki's poems. I'll just pick a mix of them here. I don't fucking know what's gonna happen. Anyways. Hi again, Brady. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but at least I kept my word. Well, I'm back at the literature club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. You okay, Yuri? Thanks for keeping your promise, Brady. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you, making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not even accustomed to it. What is going on here? They're not okay. We know this, but they're even more not okay. Oh, come on, like he deserved any slack. That's right, Natsuki. She's got Act 1 Brady energy. Me, Brady. You already had to be dragged here by Monika. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Oh, that's interesting. Monika really needs to be front and center here. She's literally blocking the text. You certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga and Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monika and manga. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. I'm sorry, Brady. I'll make sure to put your comfort first, okay? Yuri shoots Natsuki with a disappointed glance. Anyway, now that you're in the club and all, perhaps you might have interest in picking up a book to read. Well, I can't really say no either way. Like you said, I'm in this club now, so it only feels right for me to do something like that, if you ask. What? Wait, I didn't mean it like that. If you don't really want to, then forget I said anything, I guess. No, it's not that, Yuri. I want to try to be a part of this club. So even if I don't read often, I'd be happy to pick up a book if you wanted me to. You know, maybe Anime Brady's got some rules in his brain about, like, you should always be accommodating to people, or they won't like you, right? That could be kind of one of the implicit rules in his mind. Maybe he feels like you don't have enough to offer by yourself, and so you have to be super agreeable to people. That's often where, like, the people-pleasing kind of idea comes from. It's the same thing, guys. It's the same thing. A lot of this self-esteem stuff is just not accepting that you have a fundamental value as a person and feeling like you need to compensate in all these ways. For Monika, it's like being overly controlling and being high-achieving. For Yuri, it's being, like, deep and complex and interesting. For Anime Brady, it's like I have to be agreeable and people-pleasing because if I'm not, there's really nothing going on behind the scenes up here. To which there are moments where I don't think he's totally wrong about that. But then he has moments where he shines so bright. But I just thought of something. Like, most of those moments come through when he's around Sayori. And I'm wondering, without her in the story, is he just like more of an airhead than ever? One thing I noticed that I don't like very much is that the room also seems a bit tilted. And I feel like Yuri is much closer to me. I'm feeling a little stuffed in at the moment. Are you sure? It just felt like, well, as vice president and all, that I should help you get started on something you might like. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked a book out that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Okay, so the room's back together now. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monika to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me and our eyes meet for a split second. Okay, so this is all the same. It only makes her face hide deeper in her book. Sorry, I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book you gave me, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and very relatable story. Is that so? What's the story about, anyway? Well, I look at the cover of the book. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Basically, it's about this religious camp that was turned into a human experiment prison. And the people trapped there have this trait that turns them into killing machines and that lust for blood. But the facility gets even worse, and they start selectively breeding people by cutting off their limbs and affixing them to... Oh, that might be a bit of a spoiler. But anyway, I'm really into it. The book, I mean. Not the thing about the limbs. It's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. I see what it's doing now. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Brady? No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy these kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot Yuri's into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that this kind of story, it's the kind of thing that challenges you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because the world is full of horrible people and we're all worthless anyway. I hate it. I hate when I'm right. I hate when I'm right about stuff like that. Because I was getting at the idea that her rules are much more expanded. They're not, there's not a ton of them like just about her necessarily that she's talked about at least, but they're all bigger picture stuff. And I'm also wondering if that's not really her dialogue, but is this a little bit of Monika? Because that sounds like a Monika statement. Like deep in Monika's psyche is that fear of, if I'm not performing, I'm worthless. What? I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's all right then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing get to fill my thoughts, my whole body, I don't know what that said. Can I read the history? Oh, it's not in there. It's not in there at all. I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. I don't really think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? What is happening? What is gonna happen? Yes. I mean, you don't have to, but what are you saying? Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put in my bag. All right. It's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. That's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Okay. A lot of this is pretty similar to where we were, so I'm not going to read through every little bit of it. But this is where we start to read with her. Ah, fuck. I apologize a lot. I don't mean to. I mean, we slide our desks together. Our shoulders are almost touching. Now we're turning pages together. Distracted, Brady. Yuri's very patient with us. Hey, Yuri, this might be a silly thought, but the main character reminds me of you a little bit. Uh, uh, oh, this is slightly different. No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not. Really? I was just thinking the way she second guesses things she says and all that. That's what you were talking about. Sorry. I thought you meant something else about her. Something else? N Never mind. Oh, she's looking stressed out. We didn't even get that far yet. So I don't know why that came into my head. Yuri, are you feeling all right? Uh, Yuri's been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing's a little... Your breathing? Yuri puts her hands on her chest, as if to feel her heartbeat. I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water. All right. Don't push yourself. Yuri stands up and practice. This is all very different. Practically rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about? Brady! Yes, Monica? Did something happen just now? Uh, I have no idea. Genuinely, I have no idea. Yuri was acting a little strange, I guess. So you don't know anything? Sorry, I can't say I do. Are you worried about her? Oh, no. Not really. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her. I don't like it when Monika is concerned. Because she gets concerned in a very strange way. Like she was concerned about Sayori. And then something fucking awful happened to her. No, nothing. Don't worry. I believe you, silly. Yuri just does this sometimes, so it's nothing alarming. All right, if you say so. Anyway, why don't we start sharing our poems with each other? I think that Monika knows about Yuri's cutting, which makes me wonder if that's like what she went off to do. I sort of get the impression that she did that when she came over to our house as well. Shouldn't we wait for Yuri? Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we'd get started without her. Is that okay? Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book and slip it into my bag. Okay, well, this is quite different. Let's check out Natsuki's poem. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair I shared mine with her first. Oh. Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. It's a little blunt. Well, excuse me. It's not like I said it was bad. It just didn't evoke any emotions. So think about some of Natsuki's behaviors, right? What explicit and implicit rules has she grown up with that help us understand her own self-esteem and compensation behaviors? She is quite blunt, which makes me think that someone in her life, maybe her parents, are like pretty controlling. Like, Natsuki doesn't do any of the social quirks that many of these other characters do that are like, oh, if it's okay with you, let's open the book. Are you sure you want to do that? Like, I was wondering if XYZ, like there's a lot of these like little phrases added on to sentences that lots of people use to sound a bit non-committal. Because a lot of times we're just not very direct. Like it's just common in the English language, I think, but also in kind of American society, at least. Like if I'm going to meet up for coffee with a friend, I would probably say something like, I was thinking of going here. When what I really want to say is, I want to go here. But we always leave a little bit of non-committalness in case the other person disagrees, because we don't like to be disagreeable. Happens all the time. I was wondering if you'd like to do this. I really want you to do this, but I'm scared of being too direct with that. So I was wondering about it. I was sitting at my house and I was thinking about it, but I never fully committed to the idea that I wanted it. So I thought I'd just call you up and tell you that I was wondering about it. No, I want them to do it. We don't really do that, right? Like we're very focused on being agreeable because it's polite, right? But Natsuki doesn't care about any of that stuff. She doesn't say like, I would have liked to feel something stronger from this. She just says, it didn't evoke any emotion. It's very direct. And so I'm wondering if there's not someone in her life, like I said, maybe her parents, who are like very direct with her. Lots of explicit rule setting. Not a lot of like, so how are your grades going and how is school? But like, your grades aren't good. Why aren't they good? Not like, oh, do you think it's a good idea to join the literature club? Don't join the literature club. That's stupid, right? Like really explicit kind of language to a kid like that. She may be picking up on a lot of that stuff. Not because she enjoys being talked to like that, but when a kid sees that from their parents and that's how they're being shaped by them, what we're seeing as well, that's one of the implicit rules, is this is a powerful person, my parent. They are getting me to do things that I don't necessarily want to do myself, but they're making me do it. And so being commanding, being direct must be an empowerment thing, right? That's like one of the implicit rules of very explicit like critiques. And so if she wants to feel empowered, if she finds that to be an important thing to do, which I think that she does, she seems very like about herself in a very fun way. Her stances are not Monika's power stances or Yuri's like sort of nervousness. She's got her hands on her hips. She's got her like hands sort of balled up like this, right? And her shoulders are a little bit up. She seems tense, but she feels probably like she needs to make a bigger statement, maybe even like show herself being literally bigger by like having her elbows out like that. Like she needs to have a bigger presence because she's kind of small. And maybe she's been made to feel small inside by very commanding and critical parents. So basically, it's not cute enough for your tastes, when really what she wants to be is cute and adorable. Do you want to get smacked? Oh my God, I'm just imagining that that's something that she's heard from a parent. This game is doing it again. Now I'm worried about Natsuki's home life. Is she being mistreated at home? Is she okay? Has she been learning that that's like how you be empowered, is threatening people? I think there's a part of her directness that's like a good thing about her, but I don't know if it should turn into enforcement. I'll pass. Well, anyway, guess I need to show you mine. Not that you'll like it. Okay, so we've seen this one before. Eagles can fly, monkeys can climb, crickets can leap, horses can race, owls can seek, cheetahs can run, eagles can fly, people can try, but that's about it. Love it. Love it even more the second time. Yeah, I told you weren't gonna like it. Yeah, the assumption that we're not gonna like it as well. Always assuming the worst. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because she's learned that. That's one of the explicit rules. Probably because she assumes that when she is being herself and writing kind of cutesy, that she's been told that that's not going to get you very far. If she has very commanding, overbearing parents, then seeming small and cutesy is going to be seen as fragile and weak. And so she's used maybe to hearing like criticism at that. And she's sort of stunned to find out that we actually like it. And as an emotionally mature adult myself, think that it is a great point of strength for her to feel safe enough being small and somewhat vulnerable and sharing that and using writing as a conduit to channel that. I think that's wonderful. I think that's a real sign of strength. Everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't take my writing seriously. And I imagine that's a translation of another rule that she feels, which is people don't take her in general seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? I'm giving a lot more grace to Anime Brady this time as well, because there's deeper layers to all this the second time I'm seeing it. Like, I'm now not just thinking about them in their first context, but I'm thinking about like, yeah, their home environments. And now that I've like seen more of them, I'm revisiting their original ideas and like getting a deeper understanding of how they came to be. This happens all the time in therapy because like people tend to revisit things. Like obviously you don't like redo your first session and hear verbatim like I am here like the same stuff, but session one I might hear certain things and I'm piecing together like this, my assessment, but then like we'll move on and then we might cross back over an original subject and I get this like second wind of, oh my god, that thing that I heard in my first session with you is making so much more sense. Now that I know a little bit about your home life, now that I know a little bit about how you've made friends and lost friends, and coming back to you saying this like thing, this like very built-in rule sounding statement about yourself, I'm like, oh my god, that just revealed so much. Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem. Seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it. Yeah, she doesn't feel good enough. Who has been invalidating this poor girl? Hopefully it's not Monika! But the other nice thing is, simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then I made it fall flat on purpose. Look how happy she is just explaining her little creative process. I love it. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. Oh, he's appreciating her. Like, that's the one really great thing that Anime Brady does, mostly by accident, because I think it's coming more from his people-pleasing nature, and he's just kind of kind, if a bit dumb sometimes. He's generally kind. Is that, like, he's being, like, the most basic level of validating to people who have cripplingly low self-esteem, like Yuri and Natsuki and presumably Monika as well. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki's feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. This is a good Brady. I like this Brady. Who should I show my poem to next? I guess Monika. Hey, Brady. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Yeah, I bet you are always listening, Monika. Don't be afraid to bring things up. All right. I'll keep that in mind. I'm glad that Monika has emerged as the villain of this game because I feel less pressure to like dog so hard on Anime Brady. Plus, I know that he's deeply traumatized, even if he's repressing it right now. Of course, I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Brady. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monika my poem. Great job, Brady. I was going, oh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect for you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. Yeah. Yeah, as another marker of people pleasing, and again, hearing a statement like this in greater context, that's another rule that Brady lives by, right? Keep everyone's expectations low. What does that tell us? When he set them much higher, he has disappointed them greatly. Partially also why he is so disappointed in himself after Sayori's stuff, because as we grew deeper in our investment in her, our expectations for what we were to her and what we could do about it started to escalate. And then we failed. Insofar as it was not our fault, but Anime Brady feels like it was a failure. So this is a compensation. Keep everyone's expectations low. Don't stand out too much. Be agreeable to people. Like, these are the rules he's living by. It's just bad self-esteem. And the poor guy, I mean, it's unfortunate that, like, when you do the people-pleasing behavior, that does not grow the self-esteem. Like, when people validate you for that and you're agreeable to them, that doesn't tend to make us, like, suddenly grow more self-confident. It makes us more worried that we're deepening the fraudulentness of ourselves to them. Because if I'm like highly agreeable to Monika and I convince her that I'm actually smart enough to be in this club, then I have like made it even more of a pressure environment for me to perform like that. And they're gonna realize I'm even bigger of an imposter. So like the people pleasing is a compensation because I don't feel like I'm good enough by myself. But then because I'm people pleasing, I also increase my imposter syndrome because now I'm building up a bigger narrative that I'm who you want me to be, and how do I maintain that? And how do I, because I'm people pleasing for everybody, I'm like a little bit like Natsuki now, and a little bit like Yuri now, and I'm a little bit like Monika, and I'm just nobody. I'm not myself. And then we collapse and experience a very special kind of emotional death. Which is that with such a thin layer of self-esteem protecting us from our own negative internalizations, we crumble and fear that we've let down everybody, most especially ourselves. I don't mean to, depict such a miserable outcome from what is a very common behavior, people pleasing, but I'm just giving you some context again, as it is demonstrated in front of us. So what should you do about this instead? If you are the person I'm describing, if you have a little bit of imposter syndrome and you find yourself being a bit people-pleasing sometimes, do you need to go all the way to Natsuki's end of the argument and like really make yourself stand out and be almost so rigid that people find you off-putting because you're not agreeable at all? No. I think it's all in balance, right? I think this starts with understanding what are your personal values, because you have a system of values that is for you. Things you care about, ways that you behave in certain contexts. They're made up of some of these rules. They're influenced by them. Start developing some of your own rules. If you've grown up feeling like you need to set your expectations low, don't just assume that that's a rule for life. Like, try to find out what rule you're happy to live by. Learn about yourself some more. And then don't be so willing to discard your values just because you find someone else has different ones, because that will work against your self-esteem. If you and I go to a movie together, or let's say that we're playing the same game, and I really dislike it, but you really like it. But instead of staying true to how I feel, I try to shift my values to meet yours because I'm more worried about displeasing you, then I will like lose my own esteem because I'm reinforcing my fear that I'm going to lose you as a friend if we don't agree on everything, rather than sticking true to what I feel. And then I have to deny myself and also lie. And like, that's not a good combination of things, right? For self-esteem. What I need to do instead is be respectful of our difference of opinion, stick to my own and say, yeah, this didn't work for me. I like finding that neutral language rather than saying, this sucks, I hated it, right? But find that neutral language that says, this didn't work for me, right? But then be curious to the other person who has a different value about how they arrived at that point. And say, yeah, this didn't work for me. And I accept that. What I'm curious about is what you enjoy about it, right? Can I not just take your value and say, yeah, I also agree, it was amazing, because I don't want to disappoint you and lose you as a friend. But essentially keep my own value while also like still being respectful to the difference and trying to understand it, right? I think that gives you a more nuanced, more complicated view of yourself and the world and other people. And it also treats you not to feel like every minor difference is going to mean a catastrophic end to that friendship. Because that's part of the fear. It's like, oh, I'm an imposter friend. If I don't like everything that you like, then our friendship's going to be over because we don't like the same game. It's like, well, I don't think that that one thing is the load-bearing weight upon which your entire friendship is built, nor should it be the thing you sacrifice on the altar of your own self-esteem. Like, have your own opinions about stuff. It's okay. Be respectful of other people's opinions. Be assertive to debate and clarify those things while also being curious about someone else's. There, in the confluence of that, you will find measured, good self-esteem that doesn't require people-pleasing to maintain and then create imposter syndrome that you're always worrying you're going to be exposed for. So, all that is to say, I hope Anime Brady shapes up to some of his own views sometimes and realizes that it's actually okay to set moderate to high expectations for yourself with people, so long as you can fulfill them with confidence. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism. Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality. I don't mean like that's a bad thing though, but sometimes I get the impression that she's just totally given up on people. She spends so much time in her own head that it's probably a much more interesting place for her. But that's why she gets so happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's used to being indulged like that. She must be really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly. Like earlier. I think if she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for alone time. Suddenly, the door opens. Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. Well, we all started sharing our poems with each other. Already? I'm sorry for being late. No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm glad that you took all the time you needed. All right. Thanks, Monika. I suppose I should get my poem now. Anyway, do you want me to read? Do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. These lines just hit differently the second time. I have to sound confident. Monika was forged by lots of explicit and implicit rules on performance evaluation, like that her personal value is only valid if it can be like compared favorably above and beyond everyone else's, which creates all the obsessive controllingness and perfectionism and insecurity about being a leader, and it's really high highs but really low lows when that doesn't go well. It doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Let's read it then. Hole in the wall. Okay. So we've seen this one as well, but... oh, no, this is a little different. Hole in wall. But he wasn't looking at me. Confused, I frantically glance around at my surroundings, but my burned eyes can no longer see color. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Or are they simply poems on flat sheets of paper? The sounds of frantic scrawling playing tricks on my ears. The room begins to crinkle, closing in on me. The air I breathe dissipates before it reaches my lungs. I panic. There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. Swallowing my fears, I brandish my pen. So, is this about, like, he wasn't looking at me, makes me think that we're not focused on Monika. Partially because we felt like she wasn't in our league, so we didn't even try to impress her. But is her obsessiveness going as so far as to, like, yeah, try to get rid of the others? Because she wants to be the one for us? That's a lot of effort to go to for Anime Brady. I'm developing more grace for him, but that doesn't necessarily mean I am impressed enough with him yet. But see, that's my own Monica-ism, being like, you have to impress me. Why is it like that for Anime Brady? It's not like that. Like, I don't have that feeling about other people. Like, I've never been like perceiving a client that way, that they, you know, they have to impress me or something. Sometimes I get that from a client who is insecure about the usage of my time. Like, they'll be in a session with me or multiple sessions, and let's say things are not progressing like super fast, or they don't have like a ton to talk about, and they'll sometimes be apologetic about that, like, oh, sorry for wasting your time, or I know I'm not like improving in this area, and I always do remind them that, like, this is not, the goal is not to impress me. Like, the therapeutic process is like slow and it's explorative. Yes, you choose goals and you try to find measurability so that you can track how things are going, but it's not a linear journey, and I don't assume that it should look like one session on session. And sometimes we even relapse to old behaviors, and we have to like refine things that we learned a year ago, and like that's all part of the process. It's all okay. So I always remind them of that kind of stuff, because like it's not a coaching relationship where I always expect it to get better, and if you like mess something up or redevelop a cognitive distortion that we've already solved, I'm not gonna, like, you know, give you a hard time for that. That's a point of rediscovery, of reintegration, right? It's a good thing, actually. But then when I take my little therapist hat off and I look in at my own life, I'm like, yeah, you've got to impress yourself, Brady. So sometimes I'm a little bit like that with my anime counterpart here. But I'm restoring my own relationship with him in my own way. I'm at least not like insulted by being him anymore. We've got a ways to go, he and I got to work on my own self-esteem, guys. So yeah, he's not looking at me. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Are they simply poems on flat sheets of paper? There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. So maybe this is like Monika is trying to create a storyline where we fall for her. But when we're convinced by the other girls, she will fall out of the story. And so she like finds a way to rewrite it or something. Writing them out, basically. So what did you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. The kind of style has gotten pretty popular. Lots of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Good question, Brady. Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. So maybe not trying to perfect the outcome of this story. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. So commit to your actions, basically. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot, you'll get a big dark puddle of ink. She said that before, so just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Okay, now let's check out Yuri's poem. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. He's gonna hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? That's a huge compliment coming from you. This is my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Okay, so this is all some of the same dialogue. I do know that we can skip ahead. Oh wow, that was a lot. I'm assuming that if it let me skip it, it's really a lot of the same stuff. So we take a look at her poem and you guys let me know if I should steer away from using that feature. I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my own mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. Oh, Anime Brady! Baby boy! We gotta work on that esteem, buddy. We gotta pump that up. This is a literature club after all. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Monika is writing something into her notebook. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. She really is like our spirit partner in spirit. Her dismissiveness, like the same way we were with Sayori. I guess you could say it's fancy. Thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Okay, so we've seen this fight before as well. Curious that it doesn't let me skip this part though. So they're gonna fight. Oh boy. I'm having my own flashbacks. That's boob compensation time. I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Brady started showing up. This doesn't involve you. I love that this is the one time they push her out. Uh-oh. This is not the same, though. You really act as young as you look, Natsuki. What? Me? Look who's talking, you wanna be edgy bitch. Edgy? Sorry that my lifestyle is too much for someone of your mental age to comprehend. See? Just saying that proves my point. Most people learn to get over themselves after they graduate middle school, you know. If you want to prove anything, then stop harassing others with your sickening attitude. What is happening? You think you can counterbalance your toxic personality just by dressing and acting cute. The only cute thing about you is how hard you try. Holy shit. Be careful or you might cut yourself on that edge, Yuri. Oh, my bad. What is happening? Did you just accuse me of cutting myself? What the fuck is wrong with your head? Yeah, go on. Let Brady hear everything you really think. I'm sure he'll be head over heels for you after this. Suddenly, Yuri turns toward me as if she just noticed I was standing here. Brady, she's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. What the fuck? Who am I gonna agree with here? I really dislike when someone, like, makes a comment like that about, yeah, Yuri's behavior. That's the thing that threw me off Team Monika. But I'm also worried about, like, pissing her off to the point of non-interaction again. So this time I'm gonna choose Natsuki. What? What the hell? What is happening? Does this even fucking matter? What is going on? Monika! Hey Brady. Why don't we step outside for a little bit? Okay. Sorry about that. They really shouldn't have tried to get you involved. It's probably better for us to stay out of this. We'll go back inside once they're done yelling. Some president I am, right? I can't even confront my own club members properly. This is very uncharacteristic of them, though. And I'm wondering if all of the glitchiness is not, yeah, some Monika machinations. I just wish I was able to be a little more assertive sometimes. Oh, that is what she said in the text document. But I never have it in me to put my foot down against others. You understand, right? Anyway, if this makes you want to spend less time with the others, then that's fine. I'd be happy to spend time with you instead. So, is she like... She wrote Sayori out of the story so that we don't fall for her. And is she trying to make the other two seem like really unappealing? I mean, how could they stand up to perfect Monika? Suddenly, Natsuki runs out of the classroom. Oh. She quickly runs away. Oh dear. Oh, it looks like they're done. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Yuri's rocking back and forth on her desk with her palms on her forehead. Yuri? I didn't mean it. I, I believe you. I have no idea what Yuri might have said to Natsuki. Or did. Brady, please don't hate me. Please, I'm not like this. There's something wrong with me today. Oh, they're being controlled somehow. It's fine, Yuri. We know you didn't mean it. Besides, I'm sure Natsuki will forget all about it by tomorrow, completely. Anyway, the meeting is over, so you can go home now if you want. Yuri looks at me like she wants to say something. She keeps glancing at Monika. You can go first, Monika. I'd like to stay a little bit longer. I'm the president, so I should be the last one out. I'll wait for you to be done. Well, I'm vice president, so I love how she's standing up for herself. Or maybe she's just afraid to be, I don't know. out of sight. Please let me take that responsibility today. It kind of sounds like you don't want me around for something, Yuri. It's not that. It's not that. I didn't get much of a chance to discuss my book with Brady. It would just be embarrassing with you listening. I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? Uh-oh. What is she going to do to Yuri, though, instead? I'm sorry for causing trouble, but No! They're all in danger! They're all in danger! And unfortunately, I think there's no stopping this now. There's no course correction. There's no role play. There's no Brady's gonna solve the problem. I'm just along for the crazy wild ride, and I am just here to give you the therapeutic context for whatever that is worth to you until we see this thing to its conclusion. I will not come away with this without a good existential statement, though. But for now, the mystery continues. It looks, at least like for now, the story structure is somewhat consistent. So in the next episode, we will write another poem and see how that goes. For now, though, thanks again for watching, and be good to yourselves, everyone. Be better to yourselves than I have been recently. I meant it when I said earlier that, like, in the therapeutic process, I both expect and understand the need to revisit things that you have learned. And for me, one of the things I need to always relearn is like being good to myself. My last series on Amori was like very much about that being my ultimate statement. But I've not mastered this. You know, this is something that takes my own maintenance from time to time. And it's not about mastery really so much as it about how soon do you realize that you're doing it? How quickly do you get back on track? And do you learn how to do it better the next time? So with that all said, do be good to yourselves, and I'll see you for the next one.